Hostess coaching is the backbone to this business. Your recruits come from successful parties, your sales come from successful parties, and successful parties come from successful hosts. We get to party in our pajamas. Through Facebook, we don't have to fix our hair or put on makeup or have to actually go anywhere for the party. We don't have to get childcare or get dinner ready before we leave the house. We don't have to carry books all over town, set them up, and take them down. We don't have to fill out order forms, take payment information, and then enter all the orders after the party. We have it easy during the party. So if we're going to have the luxury of all that, then we have to put in a lot of work in the front end to get our hostesses excited. This is not something we can skip or just do partially. We have to commit the time to it if we want results. This is not a foolproof method. There is no foolproof method. However, it can drastically decrease your chances of a flop party. This can help tackle mass invites, low RSVP counts, low participation, low sales, and hostesses forgetting about the party. I'm sure that has happened to some of you. However, this is a proven method. For example, I haven't had a mass invite in 4 or 5 months. 95% of my parties have at least 25 RSVPs. I have at least 10 people at every roll call, and in at least 90% of my parties. 95% of my parties hit $250 in sales. I have only had 2 hostesses not show up in my hundreds of parties. But again, this is not foolproof. I never said 100% to anything. However, these percentages make for a fun business and exciting parties. These also get you recruits. About 75% to 80% of my new recruits are former hostesses or hostesses who turned their party into their launch party. They might not do it right then, right after their party, or right before their party. It might be 6 months or a year later, but the hostesses are a huge part of my recruiting pool. When your hostess agrees to host, she's usually excited. However, excitement is not enough. If your host came to a party, she's generally a little more excited than if you just ask someone out of the blue. So you want to keep that excitement going by checking in with her leading up to the event, asking her how she likes her books that she got from the party, asking her about her favorites, etc. You want to keep the conversation going just like you do with a potential recruit. If she is a host you got out of the blue, like from just asking or from a booking blitz, then you want to generate that excitement. They're merely interested in hosting a party with you right now. They aren't necessarily excited or committed yet. Kenneth Blanchard says, there is a difference between interest and commitment. When you're interested in something, you do it only when it's convenient. When you're committed to something, you accept no excuses, only results. If you can get your host to some level of commitment, then you're going to have a much greater chance of finding the time to make the party a success. Hostess coaching is all about building a relationship with that host. Why would she go out of the way for you and introduce all of her friends to you if she doesn't even know you? These are also potential recruits. You need that relationship. Okay, so first, this should go without saying, but sometimes people do struggle here with nailing down a date. I always say, I'm so excited you want to host a party. I have my calendar pulled up and I have an opening for March 13th or March 15th. Which date works for you? Never leave it open-ended to where she has to come back to you to give you a date. Always give her 2 or 3 dates to pick from and have her choose. Next, call on the phone. I know this is so hard for many of you, but after you do it a few times, you'll really see the benefits. It helps you to see that hostess as a person and really relate to them, and therefore she relates to you. Is this the answer to all your host problems? Not in and of itself. However, it is a very good way to establish that relationship early. Make sure she knows that you are trying to save her time by doing this, not making it harder on her. Say something like, hey Sally, I want to save us some time from 1,000 messages back and forth and just chat on the phone for a few minutes about your party. I won't take more than 15 minutes. Can I call you tomorrow morning? Before you call, send her a text, just short and sweet, like, hey, I'm ready for your call. Is now a good time? And then as soon as she says yes, call right then. Okay, here's my phone call script. Notice that in this script, you are asking her a lot of questions. This makes her feel part of the event and helps get that commitment level up. Just one or two of these questions in itself is not going to skyrocket her commitment, but this as a part of your whole hostess coaching will help. So for example, let's start at the top where I confirm the date and then I confirm the time and the time zone. I really want all my parties at 8:30 p.m. in the time zone of where she is. So that's what I'm going to really push for, but I do want her to have some say in the decision. So I say, okay, so I do most of my parties at 8:30 p.m. in the time zone of where most of your customers are located. I've found that more moms have kiddos in bed by that time, so they can really focus on the party. Does that work for you and your friends? So get a yes or no answer there. Then I talk to her about the date to set up the event. Again, I ask her, I have a date in mind, but then I ask her if that's okay and if that's enough time for her friends to get excited about the party. 99% of the time, they say yes, but you still want to ask them. Then I go over how to invite to a Facebook party. I do this as often as I can. Usually by the time I get to the phone call, I've actually gone through all of this in a Facebook message first, and I just kind of skim over it and reiterate it in the phone call. But what's really, really important here is that you make sure and tell her that she sends personal individual messages to people explaining about the party and asking if they want an invitation. When they say yes, then add them to the event. I have so many people whose hosts think that they're inviting correctly because they send a message, but then they instantly turn around and add them to the event without waiting for them to say yes. They're completely innocent in this. They think they're doing it the right way, but I make sure they know you wait for that yes answer. Then, at the end of the explanation, you always ask, whether in Facebook or on the phone, are you okay with inviting people this way? Make her say yes, she is okay with it. This is so important for mass inviting. You want her to reply to you about that question. Then I also give her some perspective about how many messages she's going to have to send and give her a little tip that, hey, it's only like 15-minute increments. I know, 200 messages might seem like a ton, but really you can knock it out in a couple of 15-minute increments. We all have that in the day. Then I talk with her about the date to start inviting and make sure that that is online with when I'm going to actually set up the party. I talk about our pre-party posts and remind her to get her friends involved in those. I talk about the date to close the party. I have a date in mind that I want, but I still want to make sure that she is okay with that and ask her a question to make sure that she feels involved. I go over the monthly special goal that I offer. I go over referrals and ask her if she has any friends that she knows that are really active on Facebook and know a lot of moms. I also make sure that I offer her a free book for 25 yes RSVPs. And this is the reason why I do not add my hosts as a host to the party until right before the party, because they can RSVP for people if they are the host, and I don't want them to do that just for the free prize. Then I tell her about the $150 party minimum. This is my minimum for giving away my prizes. The company's is only $100 for their free book, so you can explain that. Then I make sure she knows that she will pay tax and shipping. Then I ask her her favorite book or series. Again, this gets her involved and a little more commitment in the party. And then, of course, get her mailing address for the Hostess packet. Next, I mail the Hostess packet. I do this about a week before the party, so it gets there in plenty of time. There's a letter from me that includes how to invite, again. There's a handwritten thank you card in there. I sit down and do these all at once, like once every 6 months. I just do them, do 20 of them at a time. And then the Hostess Rewards chart, a catalog, a Join My Team flyer, and then like a little bookmark or some other little happy thing from the dollar store. I let her know that this Hostess packet is on the way, and that just helps get her excitement up. Again, address mass inviting early and often. I do this very early, sometimes are often before the phone call. Do not assume she understands. Remember that people really only have the attention span of a goldfish. Keep your pre-party posts interactive and fun, but do not overcomplicate things. Short and sweet. They don't have to be elaborate games. You can throw in a few of those. And I only do one pre-party post every other day. I don't want to overwhelm them and lose them in the pre-party. Sometimes if my host has received 25 yes RSVPs, I will do a prize upgrade or a second prize to the next level of RSVPs, like 40. I'll say, okay, you hit 25, way to go, but let's go for 40, and I'll throw in a Shine-alike book. Always offer the business. Always mention becoming a consultant. I compliment her first and just say, hey, you're really good at this. Have you ever considered becoming an Usborne Books & More consultant? You could earn free books and a commission off your party. It's super fun. And, you can kind of go from there and go with your recruiting training from there, but you always want to at least plant that seed. Make sure she is following up. Many people think of follow-up as after the party, but this is actually before the party when she is trying to get that RSVP count up. Make sure she is following up with the ones who have not yet RSVP'd. So these are people that said they want an invitation but haven't RSVP'd yet, and just tell them to make sure and RSVP for their first raffle entry. The next group are the people who have not responded to her message yet. I will tell her, hey, a lot of times girls don't see the message or they see it on their phone and they mean to respond later and never do. So you can send a quick follow-up message to those girls who you think would love this event but haven't responded yet. Just say something like, hey, Sarah, just looping back around to you on this. Did you get a chance to see if you wanted to come to the Usborne party tonight? I am getting excited about it. This will always get a few more people to respond and just say, oh, yeah, sorry, I thought I responded to this. I'd love to come. Have her post on her wall. This is not your saving grace. You're not going to get 20 more RSVPs from posting on your wall. However, it does sometimes get a few more, and make sure she posts a graphic with it. You can make her a graphic with some of her kids in it or something like that if you want to. And just say something like, don't forget, I'm hosting an Usborne Books & More party online tonight. There will be prizes and video demos showing off these amazing books. We already have such a fun group over on the event page. Who else wants an invitation? Remind her to stay engaged by commenting and liking her friends' comments before and during the party. Remember, her friends don't really know you yet. They're there for her, not you. It does not matter how many RSVPs she has. If she doesn't remind her friends, they won't show up. 15 to 30 or even 45 minutes before the party starts, telling guests, hey, my book party is about to start. See you on the event page. I'm so excited, is a great way to make sure that they actually show up. Sometimes I offer them another prize if they don't quite have the 25 RSVPs, but they do have some pre-party engagement. I'll just say, hey, I know we didn't get to the 25 RSVPs for the free book, but I can do the free book anyway if you get 12 of your friends to participate throughout the party. And I say participate throughout the party so they don't just get them to all show up at roll call and then drop off the face of the earth. So I say make sure and get your reminder messages out. And this will sometimes motivate them to go and make sure that, yeah, they have a low RSVP count, but hey, if I can get 12 of those 15 there, I can get the prize anyway. On our team, we like to offer something fun for mom. We do Kendra Scott jewelry or pullovers, Instapots, Amazon Echoes. The possibilities are endless. We make minimums to these prizes, such as an $800 party with a booking or whatever you want to make it. This is what can get you parties that you otherwise wouldn't have, or have girls push for really big parties instead of being content with a $250 party, or get them to really push to get that booking for you. When you do your prize drawings, also always draw a runner-up winner. For runners-up, I always say something like, hey, you win a free mini book for my prize stash, plus $30 in free books of your choice for hosting a party in the next 2 months. Would you like both of those? And I have a 1 in 4 record on usually people saying, yeah, I like both of those. I'll host a party. I get a lot of my bookings from the runner-up prizes. Here's for the after party. You want to follow up with people who came, follow up with people who didn't come, and then have her help you get your next booking. For this last one, notice that you are not asking her if she knows of friends who want to host a party. That is putting her on the spot to read her friends' minds to know who would want to host. She doesn't know that. Instead, you're asking for demographics that everyone knows. People active on Facebook or people who have mom friends. Everyone can name a few of those. So I hope this gives you a good guideline of how to really build excitement with your host and keep that excitement throughout the party. Her excitement will radiate to her friends. Look in the description of this YouTube video for a link to the Hostess phone call checklist. Happy partying!